to kill your picture.
We're
5 seconds.
We're running.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and guest do not necessarily reflect those of this station, the station's network, any other affiliates under this network, or its sponsors. Unless they do, and then we'll totally take credit for them, because this is radio, and that's how we roll. The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and guest do not necessarily reflect those of this station, the station's network, any other affiliates under this network, or its sponsors. Unless they do, and then we'll totally take credit for them. Because this is radio, and that's how we roll.
Here we go.
News, sports, comedy, politics, everything you would expect in a morning show. Faster than the fastest nightmare. Brighter than the dullest dream.
Right here.
Right now. The Morning Show with Uncle Bill. Grab your coffee and hang on. For the next 2 hours, the unexpected will haunt you, entertain you, and drive you absolutely insane. So let's get started. Here's Uncle Bill.
All right. Hey, welcome back to BNNS Radio. Hey, what a weekend. What a weekend it's been. I'll tell you what, folks, we are coming up this week. I swear to you, coming up this week, beginning right here. You see it here. This is the Boone County Fair Week in Boone County. And Scott McCreary will be here on Saturday night, as well as a lot of other things going on. I've got the schedule right here in my hand, and we're going to be talking a lot of fair this week from Monday through Wednesday, giving you all the details of what's coming up and what's going to be happening. And tomorrow is business day, so you get free admission. So tomorrow is a good day to plan on going to the fair. And just to give you an example of what's going on, the 4-H Poultry Show starts tomorrow, as well as the horse show. And they'll have the official flag raising and the color guard at noon. That is the official start of the Boone County Fair. And running through the afternoon will be the annual horse or harness racing in the grandstand area, and that's absolutely free. So if you like harness racing, it's always a joy to see them horses. And ranch sorting. I'm not sure what that is. It says Western style equestrian sport. That is taking place at 6:30 in the evening. And in the grandstand at 6:30 is the Real Beals one-man band. That ought to be interesting. And then beginning at 7:30 is the ever-popular, most sought-after event other than the Demolition Derby. And, of course, Scotty McCreary, or the main entertainment on Saturday night, is the Queen Pageant Contest. And that will be held tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. in the grandstand. And that's always a joy to watch. Beautiful girls. I mean, these young girls competing for Miss Boone County Fair, and then they have the Little Miss Boone County Fair, and so that is something that you have to look forward to beginning tomorrow at the Boone County Fairgrounds. And there's a whole lot more coming up throughout the week, and even if you don't attend all these special events that are taking place, there's always something going on, always. Cream puffs, and of course you got to stop by. Now I got to do this. I apologize, but I got to do this. You got to stop by the Lions Club and get one of them delicious pork chops that we're famous for. And we have bratwurst, we have hot dogs, we have pulled pork, we got nachos, cheese nachos, and all the drinks you want: water, iced tea, lemonade, and soft drinks. And it's, and again, I've said this before, folks, when you go out to the Boone County Fair, you got to support our local vendors that are out, like our 4-H Club and the Grange and these organizations that serve Boone County, because that money stays in Boone County. When you go out and you buy these kebabs and you buy the elephant ears and all this kind of stuff from all these outside vendors, all that money leaves the state, leaves Illinois, or it leaves Boone County anyway. And I think it's important that we support our local agencies that are at the fair representing local businesses and organizations that puts the money back into our own community. So do me a favor and support your local clubs. Not to say that these other people aren't worth it, because their food is good. I have to admit that. But we've got the Kiwanis, we got the fire department, you got the Lions Club, you got the 4-H'ers. You got so many people that are doing local work in our community. We need to support them. I'm going to bring Big D in here in just a second, but we're starting out this morning at 65 degrees with overcast skies this morning, 84% humidity, north winds at 8 miles per hour. And high today expected to be 74 degrees, and we have a 40% chance of some scattered rain moving into the area a little bit. But don't worry about it. It's really just a 40% chance, and it's going to be widely scattered, so it may or may not put a little damper on what you have planned. And just to give you a rundown of what the fair week is going to be, tomorrow it's going to be mostly sunny. There will be a few floaters or clouds, 81 degrees, and 60% humidity. Can't get any better than that for fair, folks. 80 degrees on Wednesday with partly cloudy skies, and it will be 63% humidity. And then on Thursday, the temperature really drops. It goes down to 76, which is still a very comfortable temperature for walking around the fair. And there's a 60% chance we might get some rain on Thursday, which is good because it'll settle the dust. And if you've ever been to a fair, it does get dusty and dirty. So this will kind of settle the dust a little bit and make things a lot easier on you. But it's only 60%, and they're very scattered. So it may not even hit the fairgrounds at all. We have no clue. And then on Friday, 75 degrees, sunshine. Just think of all the hot dogs and brats and pork chops that you can eat, and that, especially the corn from the Kiwanis. And Saturday for the show, big show, 77 degrees. However, it gets a little chilly at night, so you want to make sure that you carry a jacket with you to the fair, because it's going to get cool in the evenings into the mid to upper 50s. And that definitely is jacket weather, but it is also good rather than those hot, sultry, uncomfortable nights. And then on Sunday, 77 degrees with mostly sunny skies. And again, low in the evenings. It's going to range anywhere from 55 to 62 degrees so in the evening. So you definitely want to carry a jacket with you. So perfect fair weather. Hey, today on today's show, we have a special for you this morning. We have some guests that are here in the studio that are going to talk about their experiences with sister cities. We have young people from Volopanil, France. I had fun with that one before. Volopanil, France, and Schwieberdingen, Germany. And then, of course, we have 4 young people from the Americas, from the United States, who have already been to France and Germany, and they're going to share their experiences with you, what they found over in France and Germany. And then our France and Germany guests are going to share what they find with the American culture. And one thing strikes common amongst all the young people that come to the United States, and you'll be surprised at what that is. And like Brad Peters, the director of the program and the one that's going to be doing most of the interviewing, who has been to France and Germany. In fact, you'll be over in Germany later on this year. But He says they hear this all the time when these young people come from France and Germany. And the one thing they notice in the United States, and you'll be surprised at what you hear. So for the meantime, before we get started with that,
Big D, co-host on the morning show with Uncle Bill, right here on BNNS Radio. You'll wonder how you ever got along without him.
Good morning, Uncle Bill.
good morning, Big D. How you doing?
Oh, I am doing good this morning. I found something for you this morning. Oh.
What?
Oh, screwed it up. Never mind.
Okay, next time.
Okay.
All right. Well, how was your weekend?
Hey, it was a weekend in the country, Uncle Bill. I mean, worked, got some things done here on the property, but it wasn't really all that temperature hot. But oh my God, you walk outside and it just felt like you were walking around in rain. That wet feeling.
Yep.
But there, we had a couple of pop-up thunderstorms over the weekend, but nothing to speak of. But you just walk outside for half an hour and you're wet. There was so much humidity in the air.
Wow.
In fact, if you've never noticed it before, I was going to cut the grass Sunday morning. And I couldn't cut the grass till almost, I guess, noon, 12:30, because there was still dew in the grass. There was so much moisture in the air, it just could not pull it up out of the grass.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I want to get going. We've got these young people that's got to get going here. And so we're going to go ahead and take a quick little music interlude here, take a quick little break. And then we'll be back with our special guests. We'll be right back right after this.
I feel like an eagle with wings spread in the sky. Transformation has been made in this heart of mine. All I know is I've never felt better, and nothing in this cruel world matters. I have you here forever by my side. Now I'm alive, alive in you tonight. All my worries and fears are drowning in your light. Because of the cost you paid, Father, I can freely say, oh, I'm alive, alive in you tonight. Alive in you tonight. Before I met love, I felt 6 feet underground. Until the day arrived when I heard that beautiful sound. It was your voice that came like a whisper. You said follow your brothers and sisters. There was no way I was going to miss this another mile. Drowning in your light. Because of the cost you paid, Father, I can freely
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, chug, chug, chug. If this is how your car is sounding, you need to call 815-544-0537. That's right, my friends. Belvedere Auto Clinic, located 301 West Locust Street, Belvedere, Illinois. Call and ask for Tom. He can make your car run like new. That's right. Belvedere's best-kept little secret is Belvedere Auto Clinic. You need to call today, 815-544-0537. Come on, do it now.
Whether looking to buy a vehicle or in need of repairs, State Street Auto Rebuilders specialise in restoration, street rod building, collision repair and towing, as well as being a used car dealership and rentals. Located at 420 Fairview Street, Belvedere, Illinois, State Street Auto Rebuilders have been in business since 1982. For quotes and service, telephone State Street Auto Rebuilders on area code 815-544-7013.
Uncle Bill would like to apologize in advance for whatever he may say tomorrow. The Morning Show with Uncle Bill on BNNS Radio.
All right. You know, you have got to support our local businessmen in this town because they support us here on BNNS Radio. State Street Auto Rebuilders and Tom down there at Belvedere Auto Clinic, two of the greatest supporters and sponsors of the Morning Show with Uncle Bill here on BNNS Radio. By the way, I am your host, Bill Vallant, also known as Uncle Bill of BNNS Radio, where you can get real-time answers to all the information you ever need. Sports, weather, news, current events, even events that took place 50 years ago. We have it all right here on BNNS Radio. And just like Tom down there at Belvedere Auto Clinic, he's got all the answers you need as far as auto repair. And he can fix your car up, make it run like new. And if your car's not running, you want to give State Street Auto Repair a call because he's got this big green flatbed wrecker that he can haul your car down to Tom's, drop it off, and when you pick it up, it'll run like new. And if you just been in a little fender bender, banger upper, just call Chris over at State Street Auto Rebuilders, and he'll come and get your car. And when you come to pick it up, it'll look like new, and like it's never been involved in anything. So, with that in mind, we have coming up in this section or this portion of our radio show this morning, we have a special for you this morning. We have some guests in the house, and I think you're really going to enjoy this next segment of the Morning Show with Uncle Bill. And in order to put your mind into the proper mood for our next guests, well, let's just do this. Does that sound a little familiar to you folks out there? I mean, that's it's called Happy French Morning. And that is a segue into our special guest here this morning. And this morning we have the Sister Cities Association of Belvedere with us right here and in our studios. And Sister Cities Association of Belvedere has been working since 1988 in the Sister Cities Association. And in for over 20 years, and in, when did we join? Was it in 1999 that Paula Peniel France joined us?
Thereabouts, yes.
All right. Well, joining us in the studio, we have two young people from Vaux-le-Pénil, France, and we have Brad Peters with us. Also, we have a couple young American boys or girls that have gone over to France, so we're going to share some of their experiences in France. Later on, joining us will be our other sister city, and we'll get to them in a little bit. Right now, I'd like to turn the show over to Brad Peters, who's going to introduce our guest in the studio and allow them to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about their experiences here in the United States and across over in France.
Well, thank you, Uncle Bill. This morning, I want to introduce four young people, two Americans. We have M. Marie Alexander, and she was able to be one of our youth exchange students. And our other American young man is Ben Maxey from Poplar Grove. I might say M. Marie was is a student at Belvedere High School, and of course Ben Maxey is at North Boone. Each year, this is our 18th year that we've had a student exchange program with our sister cities, and these two young people were chosen through a interview process and application process to represent our community in France, and they were hosted by two young people from France who are with us today. We have Alex, and the last name is Grass, and then we have Laureen, and her last name is Laporte?
Yes.
Yes. Lorraine or Loreen?
Lorraine.
Lorraine, I'm
yes.
sorry. Very
okay.
good. And these young people hosted M, Marie, and also Ben. I might start with our young people. I'm going to ask Ben if he what was the most surprising thing, perhaps, that he didn't expect to see when he was in France, or something that was very unusual for him that maybe a little bit different than what our American youth culture has. Ben?
So when we were in the city of Vaux-le-Pénil, they had like regular city-sized buses, carting people around. So that was interesting because the roads were only about 1.5 car lanes. So didn't fit.
And M, perhaps the same thing for you, something that you just felt that is quite a bit different or a little more unusual than, and maybe something you didn't expect.
I would probably say the meals and how long they took to eat. I was told to expect really long meal time, like an hour, but we ate for an hour and then we talked for about 30 minutes, and it was really nice because I got to know the family that I was living with, and it felt more personal than just being with people that I'm supposed to be with. They really became my family after a while. So.
Well,
I have a question. Since she brought that up, if you don't mind me interrupting, Brad.
Go ahead, Bill.
In reference to the meal, you said you expected you were told to expect a long meal. Now you said you talked for an hour, ate for an hour, and then you talked for an hour. So was that the end of the meal then, or?
So in France, there's a thing called apéro. Not really saying that too well, but so you meet with your family and very close family friends, and you if you're older, you typically drink like alcohol, and then you eat like little snacks, so like chips, maybe they have like pork sausage called.
Well, All right, please stand by. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty here. This is live radio, my friends. All right, technical difficulty. It happens in live radio sometimes. We've lost audio to the sound booth. Uncle Bill is feverishly working to get his sound back. Please stand by. We are experiencing a minor technical difficulty. We will rejoin the program in just a moment. If you're watching this on YouTube after the live performance, just keep fast forwarding. We'll be right back. I'm your co-host, Big D. Sometimes during a live broadcast, things like this happen. That's why pre-recorded shows always look so much better. Because these
kind of like drinking and socializing at like the dinner table, and you talk for a while, and then you go on to have like your actual course, your meal. So typically for us, it was some sort of meat mixed with like vegetables. So we had lamb, we had goose, we had rabbit, all super good. Like for the rabbit, it was like bathed in beer and like apples. And then after that, we had some sort of dessert, pastries, ice cream, anything.
No cheese?
Oh, I can't believe I forgot that cheese. So, if we didn't have dessert, even if we did have dessert, we typically had, like bread and cheese after the meal, and then we went into dessert. But, also coffee. You typically drink coffee after most of your meals, except for dinner.
Really strong coffee.
Yes. And it's out of a bowl. That was so weird. My family thought I was crazy, but like it was so weird because they were drinking like coffee out of a cereal bowl. And I was like, "What are you guys doing?" So they ended up giving me a mug for the couple last days. But
you know, I find that very interesting because, again, as I told you in the very beginning, my family is from France, my great-great-grandparents and so forth. And I've heard the exact same stories, and it was curious because is it still a tradition this many years? Because my dad also drank out of a cup or a saucer or a bowl. And my wife's gynecologist doctor was from France, and my family doctor often went to his house for dinner. And he said it was a whole evening. I mean, it took them all night to eat.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow. And I didn't realize that they were still doing that. I didn't know if things modernized over the years, but they still do that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Go ahead.
Okay. Now I think we will move over to our French guest. They arrived yesterday. And after a long flight, and I gather there might be still a little jet lag, but I might start with Lorraine and ask her what's her first impression, because this is her first time in the United States.
Yes.
But what is her first impression of the United States?
Everything is big: the street, the car, the house. The dog is very big, but he's cute. I don't know. The high school. Her high school is very big. We don't have the same in France. It's big, but not like here.
You know, Lorraine, I've heard that from several of the young people that have come over the years. The first impression is everything is so big, everything is so far away, like getting in the car to go to the next town, it might be 8-9 miles. Like if we went from Belvedere to Poplar Grove, it's like 10 miles but so often the next town or village in France or Germany is maybe over the hill and that type of thing. Let's go over and ask Alex again his first trip here to the United States. So what was your first impression?
It's like Lauren, but everything is big. But the first impression is in the plane. I can see Chicago. In Chicago, we can see the big skyscraper, and we haven't that in America, in France.
Oh, good. Thank you. But now Monday, you young people are going to go to Chicago for the day, and you'll be able to go to the top of one of these skyscrapers, so to speak, and that's always a great experience. We're going to visit Navy Pier and the Magnificent Mile. So if take lots of money and spend it on the Magnificent Mile, that helps our economy. So you buy a lot of gifts and souvenirs. That's what we like our guests to do, is spend their money here in the United States to help our economy, so to speak. But what do you, I might go back to Lorraine, what do you hope to learn from your experience, this experience of coming to the United States?
I don't know. Maybe learn another culture. It's okay. How the American live, because it's not the same in France and America. I don't know. Maybe my English, learn new words. I don't know.
Well, you'll be speaking perfect English when you leave. Now, when do you,
I hope.
You go back, what is 16th, 18th? When do you go back to France? What day?
17th.
On the 17th. And
16th.
You go on the 16th and the 17th. I might ask Alex, now when you had Ben was stayed with you when he was in France, and having an American young man stay in your family's home, did you pick up or learn anything about the American youth culture that you found interesting?
In America?
Or in France? Just learning, you haven't been here long enough to experience our culture, but by meeting Ben in France.
Yes, I learned many vocabulary of English, and he learned.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize for the technical difficulty today here on BNNS Radio. This is live radio. Please stand by.
I think just that.
That's good. Now let's go back to
what are the young the two young people from France, what do they think of our fast food eating, where our American visitor to France found their meals to be extremely long, and it was a great time to be with family and socialize. But in America, we eat fast and run to the next thing. How did that strike you?
In other words, Americans eat on the run, so to speak. They'll stop by, grab a sandwich, get in their car, eat their lunch on when they're going to their next stop or something like that. Or if we're going to take a lunch break, we only might take a half hour. In our evening meal with with my wife, we're done within a half hour. We don't linger at the dinner table like the Europeans do. So, do you find that unusual? Well, you haven't been here long enough.
Have they had any fast food yet?
Have you stopped at McDonald's or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ben say the American McDonald's is better in America. I don't know. I never tried. I know just McDo in France.
They actually noticed that we have a lot more McDonald's here because there's McDonald's every 5 miles when you're driving back from the airport. So that shocked them.
And you say the French McDonald's is more little.
Oh, it's smaller.
Smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, the patties and the cheeseburger were smaller, and the fries the fries were just not as good,
No.
Probably could starve.
Actually, the portion sizes, that we had at our, family meals were, bigger than what I would eat at home, and it was way more frequent, with the fast food, 'cause for me, I typically don't eat breakfast, and then, sometimes I'll go without lunch, and then I'll just eat a lot for dinner. We ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then, sometimes we had snacks and stuff in between, and, every time, I was so full after, but it was worth it. It was so good.
Did you bring back any culture from France that you would like to see adopted in the United States? Something that will live with you and possibly change your lifestyle here?
I really think that, just having a sort of time, whether it be meals or just spending a lot of time with your family, was really important for me. 'Cause, for them, they can't drive until they're 18. So typically they have their parents drive them. And it was just, all of us were involved whenever we went to go do something. 'Cause for me, since I already have my license, I go with my friends and I don't really see my parents too often. But for them, they're with their family a lot more frequently. And I think that just having more family time would be something that I would really want to incorporate into my household.
Yeah. Ben, would you want to make comment on that?
Well, mine's gonna be a little different. I think we should take their bread because I brought back.
Amen. Amen.
The best.
I brought 3 baguettes back. I bought them right before we left. They're just so much better than the bread here. I don't know what they're doing, but
I didn't think they'd let bread through the customs.
No, you can. No meat. Loren figured that out.
Yeah.
Yes, the French bread is super, and I'll be in France in September, so I'm looking forward to more baguettes, so to speak.
There's nothing like it.
I just want to ask one final question. With your visit here to the United States, and for the young people from America that went to France, what are the culture shocks with social media?
Facebook, Twitter.
I really didn't experience anything for social media. Really, the only thing that was different for me were the advertisements, because if you're in another country, it's going to be in the language of the country. But there was really nothing. If we had photos that we wanted to share, we would send it to one another. And if you want to communicate with someone, you just send them a message. A couple members of her family sent me messages through Facebook and added me. So
did you find social media to be as prominent there in France as it is here?
No, not really. It's just sort of a way to communicate with people that are really far away from you. because like for us, when we went to Normandy, we didn't have any Wi-Fi, so I went a whole week without texting, and but yeah, that was a testament of my will. But you know, I'm still alive, so that's good. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna switch places here, and don't do it yet. The two, let's see, Ben and Lorraine, was that right?
Yes.
Okay, Ben.
No, Ben is the American. Lorraine and Alex.
Alex and Lorraine. Do you have any final words that you want to share with us before we switch chairs? What are you really looking forward to in your final stay here in America? Anything you really want to do or see other than Chicago, of course, I'm sure that.
In Chicago, I know just the Bean. Bean, I want to see that. Yeah. And the skyline of Chicago, I think it's very beautiful. I hope.
Yes.
Are you fascinated anywhere by the countryside, like when you come out to Belvedere and the openness and that type of thing? Because like Brad said, the next community is just right over the hill, where here, you know, we have to drive long distances to get to the next community. Is that something that has really struck you, or are you interested in seeing a lot of the countryside here in America?
Farms, like
cornfields.
Yeah.
Maize,
yes.
beans.
Yes.
Are you going to go to a farm?
I don't understand the question.
Are you excited to visit like farms?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it's bigger than in France. We have farm in France, but I don't know if the same size. I don't know.
Okay.
And me, I don't know very many French farm, and I can see the American farm. But when I come back in France, I won't see the French farm.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to switch places with our other sister city, Schwieberdingen, and while they make their switch, we will just listen to this.
Ob ganz oder Feder, man steckt sie was drauf. Der eine hat ein Kopf, der andere ein Hut. Der eine, der ist nicht drauf, der andere ist gut. Die Bären haben einen Gipfel, die Bären haben einen Gipfel und die Buben, ja die Buben. Die Bären haben einen Gipfel, die Bären haben einen Gipfel und die Buben haben einen ganz vollen Hut.
All right. Well, it looks like they're about ready to go, and a switch has been made, and a little German music for you. I hope that made you feel like at home. I don't know. Is that what you listen to, or no?
American music.
Yeah. Well, I just looked up what I could find, so
it's okay.
Okay. All right, Brad.
Yes, well, here we are. I want to introduce the young people that participated in our youth exchange program with our sister city in Schwieberdingen. This year, the two American youth was Bert Cochran, and he is a student at Belvedere North, and Hannah Riley, and she is a student at Belvedere High School. And Hannah just graduated from high school, and she'll be going on to, is it Augustana?
Yes.
This fall, continuing her higher education. Now, our young people from Schwieberdingen, we have sitting next to me is Lena Bausau. Okay, I hope I did that right. And then we have Lucas Krulik.
Yeah.
I hope I did that right.
It's okay.
It's okay?
For an American, it's okay.
For Americans, it's okay. Well, I tried. Anyway, so we're glad to have you here this morning. As our sister cities, we're part of the Sister Cities International, and again, we have the two sister cities, Vaux-le-Pénil, France, and Schwieberdingen, Germany. Sister Cities was came out of the people-to-people program at the end of World War II. President Eisenhower, who was the Allied commander, when he became president, he thought that we could have better understanding of other cultures if we had mass exchanges of people with different cultures. And he developed the people-to-people program, and out of the people-to-people program, the Sister City International became. And
All right, and we'll be right back with more from Schwieberdingen. I remember talking to these young people last year, and the name of that town just absolutely cracks me up. Schwieberdingen. Or I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I'm your co-host, Big D. We've had it just seems like we cannot get this interview. Somebody has sabotaged it. We don't know what, but Uncle Bill will get our sound back as soon as he can. So in the meantime, let's take a short break. We're gonna go right back to it. There's some things in the news going on today. Or not today, but today's times, shall I say. One of the big news stories that we have around here in Georgia is we're hearing a lot about pot in other states. And it's absolutely amazing because Colorado advanced the legalization of marijuana. And since doing that, they have created many, many other problems that they claimed during the passage of this would not take place. Proponents for legalized marijuana claim there would not be an increase in car accidents. There would not be an increase in a lot of things. By legalizing pot, Colorado and its proponents, the pro-marijuana groups, stood and said that it would do away with drug gangs and drug dealers and you wouldn't have that problem. Well, guess what? They do have those problems. They've created new drug dealers. And yes, car accidents in the state of Colorado have gone up since the folks, let's face it, you get somebody who is high on wild turkey or Jack Daniels, or you get somebody who's high on pot, same effect. I have had people tell me that people who smoke pot can confidently and proficiently operate a motor vehicle. Not true, folks. Not true. Now other states are looking to legalize this. So if they're going to legalize marijuana in your state, please, come on. I'm all for, if you've got a little bit for personal consumption, that's fine. But it's like the old adage, don't drink, don't drive, don't smoke.
Changes one-on-one with different peoples. And these young people had an opportunity to go to Schwieberdingen, our Americans, and now we have the young people from Schwieberdingen. And sort of like what we did on our earlier interviews, we're sort of going to ask our American young people what they found most different between the young people in Germany and the American young people. We'll start with Hannah Riley.
Well, the first time I was introduced into the young people in Germany was when I went to school with Lena, and they all hug each other. And I thought that was so cute. I mean, I hug my friends here, but they all hug, and I think that that's really cool and really different.
Burke?
So I feel like the teenagers in Germany and here spend their time a lot differently. In the U.S., we use social media a lot more than they do in Germany, but also a lot more times young people are at like cafes, but just for ice cream. And I feel like we should go get ice cream with our friends more here.
And we'll switch gears here, and we'll talk to our young people from Schwieberdingen. Of course, these young people, this is their first time in the United States. And I might ask, Lena, what was the first thing that you think of us here in the United States?
I really like it because it's so big here and it's like in the movies.
Again, so many of the young people or young people that are the first time here, we hear this so often about how big everything here is in the United States. But interesting that it's sort of like in the movies. That's interesting. Lucas, and your first impression?
Lena told that already, but everything is so big here. The cars, the streets, everything is big. And in America, there are a lot of fast food restaurants. We just have McDonald's here, McDonald's, Burger King, and they have Taco Bell and things like that. And the first thing I've done yesterday was, the first thing I did at the airport, I was at the McDonald's. And after that, I was at the Taco Bell store. So that day yesterday was so hard for me because I had so much.
What about the traffic? Do you find more cars on the road here, where in your country do they ride more bicycles, or the traffic? And
that's the thing in Germany. We ride bikes, and Berg told me that that's not a thing in the US. They don't use the bike. They have bikes, but they don't use that.
That's true. I understand also that people have a tendency to walk more in Europe than they do here. We get in the car, always get in the car to go to our next stop.
But that's the thing I really like. I hate walking around. I think we have a car, so we can use the car.
If you have a car, use it. Have you had a chance, Lena, to taste something different, some type of different food that is unusual that maybe you wouldn't get every day in Germany?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Difference in food.
Yeah, here's a lot of fast food, and that's the difference.
What's your favorite food in Germany?
Oh, I like the Italian food. There's a lot of Italian food in Germany too.
Well, you're in luck because we have a lot of family Italian food here in our area, especially in Rockford. Almost every corner has an Italian restaurant, so you'll get plenty of Italian food, I'm sure. I know when I fell in love with Maltaschen.
Really?
Yes, in the brulee, or for breakfast when you paneer it with breadcrumbs and that type of thing. So or with a sauce, with some type of sauce, I could eat that every meal.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pretty good. I can't quite figure out how the taschen, the little pockets, I guess, or something.
I have no idea.
I have no idea
secret,
how.
I guess that's a German secret to make Maltaschen.
Is cheese a big dish in Germany?
For me, yes.
Yeah.
Cheese is every time on the table, but I guess a lot of German families don't use cheese that much on their dinners, lunch.
Leader Kranz?
The cold cuts. You have like kalte Platte, like for supper, for dinner. For late evening, you have a lot of Wurst.
Yeah. Sausage is a big thing. German.
Yes. Now, I might ask the automobiles. You talk about our somebody made a comment about my little red truck and how big it was.
Yeah, the cars are very big.
Well, the streets here are so wide and stuff, and we can drive our big vehicles. But over in Europe, some of our vehicles wouldn't even fit on the streets.
Yeah, that's right.
I know the first time I saw a smart car was in Hungary, and it was several years ago in Budapest, and I saw this little tiny. It looked like a pregnant roller skate.
Is the population of Schwieberdingen still around 11,000?
I guess 12,000. I'm not sure. Yeah, about
12,000.
Yeah.
But similarity, we have our automotive plant here, and I know when they were looking to become a sister city with Schwieberdingen, they were impressed with like the automotive industry in the area of Schwieberdingen, with Bosch, with the in Stuttgart, which is right next door, with the Mercedes and that type of thing. So there are a lot of similarities. We're a little larger city, but we're right next door to Rockford, which is a larger city. But Schwieberdingen is right next door to Stuttgart, which is a very large city.
Do you have a main manufacturing type of industry in Schwieberdingen? I mean, what is, or are they just little stores and shops, or do you have major industry in your community area?
There's a huge factory from Bosch in Schwieberdingen, but that's the only big thing.
And what do they make?
For cars.
Oh, okay.
Things. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Well, I think Bosch is more of a technical research center. That's where they develop new products and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's technical thing.
Technology?
Yeah.
But it is a large plant. And then, how do you find? You haven't been here long enough to go to a supermarket or one.
I was in the supermarket this morning, and it's so huge.
And here we'll go every other week and load up for 2 weeks of groceries or something like that.
You have more street markets, right? Mm-hmm. Little shops on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might go to 3 different shops to get what you're going to serve.
Yeah, that's the thing. We have shops just for food, just for meat and for cheese. Yeah,
and for Gemüse and that type of thing.
That's the thing in Germany.
Yeah. Lena, any additional comments?
We have Lucas already said it. We have a lot of little shops.
I want to talk a little bit about our young people. So often when our young people leave the high school, they might have only studied a foreign language, maybe one foreign language, and perhaps maybe at the most 2 years, because to go to higher education, that's all they need is 2 years of a foreign language. So oftentimes we find young people like you that have taken maybe 6 or 7 years of English and maybe 2 years of a different language. So Lucas, how many years have you studied English?
10 years.
10 years.
Already, and I will study 3 years.
And Lena?
9 years.
You know, these young people in Europe put our Americans to shame because we try to slide by without having to learn a foreign language. Or if we do study, we only study it for a couple of years and that type of thing. So I'm really surprised. I met a young gal from Schwieberdingen and several years ago in the exchange program, and she was interpreting English into French because the girl from France was having a hard time. She was just new here, and her English wasn't as good as maybe it should have been. But anyway, so she was translating, and I was amazed, and I made comment to her. I says, you know, you speak German, you're speaking French and English. And she said, well, we're Hungarian. We speak Hungarian at home. 4 languages, 16 years old, and fluent in 4 languages, which is very unusual. We don't see that here in the United States.
Now, in Schwieberdingen and also in France, educationally, is yours a 1 through 12 like we do, and then on to college? Or is college a big thing in European countries like yours? And how does your educational system compare to that here in America?
We go 4 years to the elementary school, and then we have 3 kinds of schools, and you can decide where you want to go. And yeah.
Are they specialized?
Yeah, they're special. You can choose a hard one, a medium one, and a easy one. And only with the hardest you can go to a college and study there. Yeah.
So you do have colleges just like we do, schools of higher education.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think also they work a lot with learning a trade or something of that nature. Don't you have if you go into the higher education, you have to pass they call it the gymnasium or something like that. And then also, don't you have to pass a test to go on with your education if you go to the university?
I'm not sure, but I guess you have to. But I'm not that sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
But the 3 different. You have the 3 different levels, and then you get you go into one of the levels that would best fit your need.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, and then your school day isn't as long as ours.
That's right, yeah. We have school for like 6 hours a day. Sometimes we have school in the evening, but it's not that common.
Okay.
Just if you have school in the evening, just 1 or 2 times per week.
One other thing, too, is here in our schools, especially with the high school level, all of the extracurricular activities like music, chorus, the sports, football, tennis, swimming, it's all done through the school system. And in many areas in Europe, you have to join a club.
Yeah, you have to join a club if you want to do a sport.
Yeah, and that type of thing. And that is a little bit different than here because that's all included as part of the education, having we call them extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
Different. Now, do you belong to any clubs, Lucas?
I was in a karate club for 6 years, and but I changed my school, and after my school, I will join another club.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Lena, do you belong to any clubs?
Yeah, I do track and field for 7 years.
7 years? Yeah, that's a little different than what we have here. But then again, our kids on the extracurricular activity, they can, go out for sports, or they can go into chorus, or they can go into band or that type of thing. I think I might ask Hannah now, what extracurricular activities do you do? Everything, I know.
I do quite a bit. I was involved with band for quite a while, and I did some sports. I did cheerleading and softball my freshman year. I was in student council, National Honor Society, and outside of school, I did orchestra through the Rockford Youth Symphony.
Okay. And Burke, your extracurricular activities?
I'm on the debate team at my school.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's sort of what we do. When the kids go on to higher education, the people that admit them to their colleges and stuff, they find that those type of activities they help development of the person, and they look at those type of activities, the extra activities that the kids have done, and it helps with their admissions to the school that they want to get into so often. Bill, do you have any other questions for the young people?
Oh, I could probably sit here for the next 6 hours and ask a lot of questions because I think culturally, I think it's really unique to learn from young people how they see us in a different light and how we see their culture, and we learn different avenues of excitement in different fields, and then some of the things carry over, like fast food, social media, those types of things, and how they compare. And I like the idea that, especially in our earlier interview, where there's a lot more family time than what we experience over here in our country. And now in Germany, what is your family life like? I mean, do you spend lots of family time together?
Brooke told me that once, that it's not common in the US that the family eat together, and we always do that. Dinner time, lunchtime, we always eat with the whole entire family. Yeah.
And that's cool. And you have conversation.
Yeah.
And a lot. And I think that's really important to me, and I like that, and I hope that some of that our young people can bring back from your country, and don't ever give that up, because it's a key important part of life and growing up, and I'm certainly happy to hear it. And it's always a pleasure to have you young people in our studio and tell us about your adventures, both here and abroad, and vice versa, for the young people in America to to see what life in other countries are like. And it's always a pleasure to have you here. Brad, as we wrap this up here, if you can tell me just a little bit about Sister Cities. We know that you are growing and that you have memberships available for people if they want to become involved with Sister Cities. And tell us just a little bit about if somebody wants to get involved, and then they get to travel with these young people, correct?
Well, yes. We have not only do we have our youth exchange program, we have also the adults or the city people, that type of thing. We have different exchanges. This September, there's a delegation, about 20 members of Sister Cities that will be traveling to Valais-Peniel, France, and they have set up a program for us. It's a 5-day program where we'll be in Valais-Peniel. A couple of years ago, I was able to attend the celebration of Schwieberdingen and Valais-Peniel being 25 years of being sister cities with each other, and we took part in that celebration. And so over the years, I think I've been to Valais-Peniel 3 times, and I've been to Schwieberdingen about 8 times, with, on different sister city functions. But yes, membership is always available. We have family membership. I think it's nominal amount, $15 for a single person, maybe $25 for a family. We have the applications are online, Belvedere Sister City Association at belvederesistercities.org. And the applications, you can make an application there. The apps are available, and a lot of information about Sister Cities is there. Now, each year, as I said, this is our 18th year. We're going to be starting our 19th year of a student exchange program with our sister cities. And we visit some of the schools to present our program. We ask the young people that are interested. They fill out an application. They get 3 letters of recommendations from business, community leaders, teachers, that type of thing. We do an interview process where we interview our applicants, and each year we're able to choose 4 young people. And I might say the young people that have come forward to apply for this opportunity seem to be the cream of the crop, so to speak. We have 2 of our past participants are full-fledged medical doctors. We have a young lady that went to France, and she got into international studies, and she sort of switched gears, started teaching, and now she's teaching both German and French at the University of Wisconsin. We've had a young person that went to one of our military academies, the Naval Academy, and so many of these young people are our future leaders, and where they go ahead and step out for this opportunity, it just it warms my heart, so to speak, because I can see that these kids are really, truly are going to be our future leaders, and that's what we need, wholesome future leaders.
All right.
And I might say that our student exchange program, this last year we were able to award a stipend of $1,500 for each one of our youth ambassadors, and we thank the community for supporting the program. And so we have a raffle each year where we try to raise a little bit of money, and other activities where we raise money so we can make this possible for these young people.
Is your phone contact information still 815-544-4357?
Yes.
All right.
No, I'm sorry. That's not. I'm sorry. My resident phone number, 815-547-45. Oh boy, I don't even know what my home phone number is. It's in the phone book.
All right. Well, basically, if you need information,
I never call myself.
Basically, if you want to get more information about the Sister Cities Association of Belvedere, look up info at belvederesistercities.org. Any closing remarks?
No. We're going to have young people are going to have a busy 2 weeks here to close out their exchange program. And as I said, today with sort of Belvedere, we're showing them around Belvedere. We'll have a group picnic this evening at the home of Bob Edwards. And I think Monday they go to Chicago. And the young people all have their plans of what they want to do. So we just hope that they experience our American culture, our guests. And we're thankful that our young people from America, they had this opportunity.
All right. Well, I'm sure and I hope that you folks take home a lot of great memories, as our American families have brought back tons of memories, I'm sure. And you develop a long-lasting relationship with each other. And God bless you, and thank you for coming over here and visiting us in the United States. Thanks for being here on BNNS Radio. And you have been listening to a live conversation from our friends from Schwieberdingen, Germany, and Volapenil, France. And with that, we say thank you for listening. And as we part, we'll be back right after this.
The Morning Show with Uncle Bill. Like a strong cup of coffee.
Strained through your grandmother's sock.
The best part of waking up is... what the is this on BNNS Radio. The BNNS Morning Show with Uncle Bill. He was once a banker but lost interest.
Very funny.
He was once addicted to soap, but he's clean now.
Har.
He was once addicted to the hokey pokey, but he turned himself around.
Okay, that's enough now.
He used to be indecisive, but now he's not so sure.
Really, please stop.
He's only half ambidextrous.
Just get out.
He has the eye of the tiger and a lifetime ban from the zoo. Okay.
Security.
BNNS Radio.
All righty, we are back here live in the studios here at 221, still going strong here. I apologize for those couple interruptions where the sound went, and I have no clue why. I just had to do a real quick refresh, and it came back, but I have no clue why that did that. But anyway, we got through it, and we want to wish our friends from Schwieberdingen, Germany, and Volapenil, France, a good time here in the United States. And they're on their way off to Chicago now to enjoy the skyline of Chicago. And with that, Big D, are you still awake?
Absolutely, Uncle Bill.
Oh, you're breaking up there.
Oh, am I back? Am I better? Yeah. Absolutely, Uncle Bill. I am back. I am bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. You know, there was some similarities from last year that we covered this.
Oh, that's true, and I noticed that with the last 3-4 years that we've been doing Sister Cities, the main theme is, and as I said going into the interview, the one thing that you will notice with the young people is that everything over here in the United States is so big compared, and it kind of makes me want to sometime go. I always said I never wanted to travel outside the United States. I never want to leave the soil of the U.S. and go to any European or Asian or any other countries. I've just never had an interest in that, but it almost makes you want to travel over there to see what they really mean by tiny and small.
Oh, there, just to give you an idea, there are streets in towns that my full-size pickup truck won't go down.
That's what Brad said, and of course you've been to some of those countries when you were in the service, right?
Yeah, I was there years ago, and I'm gonna tell you, even though I was there, I can guarantee you I never got to see these countries. Now, I had an uncle that retired in Germany, in Mannheim, Germany, married a German woman. And still, I did not see these countries the way these young kids are getting to see these countries.
Yeah,
the little nuances.
I'm really impressed, and I, I've often thought about getting involved with sister cities, but I just don't know if I don't know if I could afford the travel going over there or I don't know. I've just got this desire to stay home.
You know what?
Maybe it's my age.
The biggest problem that I have with traveling over to Europe is the length of the flight.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem.
We had a hard time getting to Hawaii. I mean, that was only like a 8-hour flight, I think. And boy, cramped in that seat for 8 hours. I can't imagine what it is. How long is the flight from here to Germany, would you guess?
When I flew to Germany I flew commercial.
Of course, you flew back when they had prop airplanes.
No, I actually got to take a jet this time. It was an experimental plane, but we got to take it. We had to fly from New York to Paris, and then from Paris to Frankfurt. And I think the total trip was about 14 hours.
Yeah. See, and I can't imagine being cramped in a seat, especially with our aircraft, the way they're built today and how they're so cramped. And you can't even lay back and relax. I mean, it's...
Oh, the seating is a lot closer than it was back when last time I went.
Yeah. I mean, they've gotten to the point where... And you can't fault the airlines, really, because there are so many people traveling by air anymore. You've got to cram as many people as you can into an aircraft. Of course, I've always said, why don't they just put more aircraft in the air instead of cramming people in like sardines? Why not just so you got to fly 2 airplanes from Chicago to New York or Chicago to San Francisco. You make the same difference, right? You have two plane loads instead of one with a lot of angry, uncomfortable people.
Little side note, this was a little article I caught a couple of weeks ago. The FAA is reviewing that because there have been so many complaints over the past 3 years.
Yeah, that and illnesses coming out of the aircraft because everybody's cramped in.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, it's a guy your size, I can't imagine how you can get on an airplane and comfortably fly for 14 hours.
When I was younger and I was about 80 pounds lighter, and like I said, the seats were a little bit bigger and there was a little more leg room, it wasn't too bad. But now, if I were to fly to Europe, I'm not going unless I can go business class.
Yeah. And I didn't even find out one time I got to fly business class from the blessing that I was given by a man who gave up his business class seat because I was a veteran. You just had a lot more leg room. And you could stretch out. It was nice. It was nice, and everybody should be able to fly that way. And like I said, so you got to put more people or more airplanes on the runway. I don't know. What'd you think of that tragic accident with that? What is that helicopter or that airplane that flies like a helicopter or takes off like a helicopter and flies?
Oh, yeah, I want to say Sikorsky or something.
No, it's not that one.
The Marines use it.
Yeah, and they said it's, despite all the problems that they've had with it, it's still a very integral part of the military. They still believe, boy, the name's right on the tip of my tongue. Osprey. The Osprey. Thank you, Perry. They say that is a very, very integral part of the military, and there are no plans of giving it up, even though they've had multiple problems with them things.
Yeah, I mean, when they're working, the Marine Corps cannot find a replacement.
Yeah.
It's just, of course, they've bought so many of them, they've got to make them work.
I suppose that's right. Oh, Lordy. What else is in the news, D? I've got all kinds of things coming up planned later in the week, but he just got up and walked away.
No, I'm sorry. Something called my attention away.
Did I make you mad?
Yes, always.
Oh, man, I'll tell you, my weekend was... Oh, what's up with this Wasserman thing and her protecting this IT guy?
She's got to protect him because if he rolls over, she's going to jail.
I mean, I watched the videos on that and her attempt to defend herself as to why she protected this guy and why he was allowed to remain on staff. And I mean, it's like, what? Are you for real? I mean, it's like mommy coming in and catching you with your hand actually in the cookie jar, and you stand there and say that you told me I could do it, Mom. You know, I mean, it's just, it made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. What is wrong with our government? D, what really is getting really, really frustrating with me is we have accusation after accusation after accusation, investigation after investigation, and so on, but nobody seems to take any action. When are we going to start seeing some results from all these investigations, all these looking intos, and so on and so forth? I mean, Sarah Palin posting every single day something comes up over their social media. Well, it's over. So-and-so has been caught dead to the... And it's like, okay, if it's over, when is it over?
Well, let's break it down for a second. First of all, you were a police officer.
Yeah.
How much, just if you caught a guy robbing a store or breaking into a house, you caught him, how much paperwork and documentation did you have to do?
If it was as simple as just catching somebody on a B&E, it's basically just a report to document what you saw.
Okay.
But if you're investigating a homicide where, you need evidence and you need all this, that's putting it pretty simple, D. I mean, if I catch somebody giving a ticket...
Well, wait a minute. Now follow me on this. Now, okay, let's go. You catch somebody breaking a pretty serious law. You had to document it. You had to cross your T's and dot your I's pretty good, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
okay.
I remember when Miranda first came out, there were so many cases thrown out of court simply because you did not give a person his Miranda warning at the precise time.
Okay.
In other words, you see on TV when, as a man is caught and the cuffs are going on, you have a right to remain silent, blah, blah, blah. And that is exactly when you have to do it. You can't wait till you get him in the squad car and turn around and say, oh, by the way. I mean, and so a lot of cases, everything, you're right. Every T had to be crossed and every I dotted and so forth.
Well,
but
if you move ahead to today, we have created so many more laws to cloud issues. And
wait a minute. You can't tell me. You're not going to sit there and tell me and try to convince me that, all right, what are we into, the 7th month, 8th month of Donald Trump's
Let me finish.
presidency?
Yeah, let me finish, Bill, and I think I'll answer your question before you ask it. Now, for you to put somebody in jail years ago compared to today, in a lot of cases, it was easier. Because even if they cross every T and dot every I today, there are a lot of legal wranglings that can take place. Now, turn around and throw in the fact that the higher up the government food chain you go, the more people you have trying to cover your butt. And so consequently, if you catch Bill Vaughn breaking a law, whip, bang, boom, he's gone to jail. You catch Senator Ted Kennedy breaking a law, we better handle this with kid gloves.
It didn't take very long to send Governor Blagojevich to prison. It didn't take very long to send Governor
yeah, but think about it, Bill.
The last 3 governors we had are in jail. It didn't take very long to put them in jail.
But
Tell me why it takes 8 months to investigate Russian involvement in the presidential election.
Because there was none.
Exactly. So why are we still investigating it?
Because they don't care whether Trump gets impeached. You will never see Trump get impeached unless something grievously comes up. All they're trying to do since day one is completely derail his administration.
Oh, I understand that.
That's all it is. So that when they go back to their constituents, they can tell them, oh, we fought this because, whatever. All they're trying to do, Bill, is completely and totally neuter this administration so that basically for the next 3.5 years he can just sit there and do nothing. Just be a whipping boy. And I go back to this. What we're seeing is all because Hillary didn't get elected. Now, if Hillary had gotten elected, we'd be seeing other things because she did get elected. But this is not about did Trump do something wrong. It's about Hillary didn't get elected.
Well, I know you keep saying that, but I don't agree with that. I agree with it to a point. But come on, he's been 8 months into his administration, and they have disproven 90% of the allegations made against him, and he's still doing a decent job. He may not be the perfect president that we've ever had. He's not another Ronald Reagan. He's not another Abraham Lincoln, and so on and so forth. But you got to admit he's making more progress towards keeping his campaign promises than the last 20 presidents that we've had, and yet they still can't just wake up to the fact that let's get on with it. Let's make this country work. And
bingo, he's doing it for us, if you want to put it that way. He's not playing the game right. He's not making these moves and doing these things so that politicians can take credit for them. He is doing what he is doing is he is pointing out how inept government has been for the past 20 years.
Well, let's look at the people, though. How stupid are the American people to believe what they're hearing on major media networks when everybody agrees? Everybody that I've ever talked to agrees that major media is reporting fake news, they're making up stories, or they're only showing certain segments of. And how many times have you listened to an interview with a person of government where they're explaining and they just cut them off? When they've reached a certain point in a sentence, they just cut them off and end the interview for news purposes. But if you let them go on and finish, it might be a clarified statement, but they don't allow them to clarify. Well, and they only show segments of what they want you to see. Well, and it's often and it goes back to exactly what I've said this story many, many times. And again, I'm just going to reiterate as to how media works. And this isn't something that just started with the Trump administration, because it goes all the way back years ago, and where media took a photograph in Chicago during the Chicago riots, and they had a guy pinned up against a wall with a nightstick in his hand like he was going to beat the crap out of this guy. And they plastered it all over the news media, all over the Chicago newspapers, which national newspapers and the AP picked up, that cops beating bystanders or beating demonstrators. I don't remember the exact headline. But when reality came out, and the guy himself that was in that picture came out and said, the cop was helping me up. I fell. I tripped. And the cop turned around to help me. He was picking me up.
Yeah, I remember that. We did a couple of days with that one.
Exactly. And this is what irritates me, is that the American people know it. And yet they still share it on Facebook or social media. They are still tweeting the same rubbish. And yeah, we got a lot of ticked off liberals out there that are just can't wake up and smell the bacon. But I guess I'm just getting really, really emotionally frustrated with American people and how naive, how ignorant. But yet, on the other side, I look around and I see a lot of great things going on outside of government, not getting completely away from government. There's a lot of organizations. There's a lot of you put up somebody that's got brain cancer. Somebody found out they have a brain tumor. What's the first thing you do? Start a GoFundMe account. And you got money falling out of your pockets because you're getting so much money. So people are willing to donate and help these people that are in dire situations. There was a young man that just died recently here in our local area of a brain tumor, and the family claims they don't have money for his funeral expenses, so they started a GoFundMe account. And people pour out their hearts, and they open their pocketbooks and help these people out. And you can't deny that the American people have good hearts.
Absolutely. But hold true, Bill. Again, let me go back and say this. When you see the LGBT people on TV, and they're basically painting the picture that Trump wants to break down the doors of gay people and drag them out into the streets at night. Remember, that's not the entire gay community.
I understand that, yet why is it that the American people and they still buy into this, or they still follow it? I mean, the average person knows that this isn't everybody, and how is it that a small, tiny percentage of a special interest group can control so many people?
Well, a lot of people depend on the news for their information. That's what's so frustrating.
But they know the truth. They already know the answers, but yet they still buy into what's being spread in the media.
No, believe it or not, there's a lot of people out there that's how they find out what's going on in the world, is through the news.
I understand that.
But what all we're being shown is like 10%, but it's being portrayed as nationwide. And there's people who believe it. There's people every day, I read stories on this, that are figuring out that these groups are full of BS.
So you get a guy like Tucker, who, and I'm using him as an example because he seems to be the most popular talk show host right now. You take Tucker comes on and he defames a lot of this rubbish that's being spread around.
Yeah.
And he has called many officials on their statements or their actions and so on and so forth. But it still goes nowhere. It's classified as entertainment.
But see, then you've still got that certain amount of our country, people who are not cannot live in their own skin. So they have to have something that makes them look important. And again, we've said it here, Bill, on this show, that one of the most true sayings in the world is, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. They will read the headline of an article. They will read the first paragraph of an article. And that creates their entire narrative. They don't bother to check or to follow up on other stories. Once they've read that paragraph, they know all there is to know about what's happening. I wish somebody would go back. That woman that they kept playing, that, she just madder than a wet hen. Trump ain't gonna, he can't wait to kill people and nuke them. He'll be in office first week he's in there, he's gonna nuke some poor little old country. I wish somebody would go back and interview her now. But see, that's the game that media is playing. They don't seem to interview the same person twice, so to speak. I mean, all the things that we have read about Sharia law and the stringent things that it puts on people, and yet the media portrays this woman. She's Muslim, trying to convince women that in this country they would be far better off under Sharia law than they are in America. And there's a certain amount of the population, female population, that's buying it. Here's another point, and this is I'm with you on this, Bill, when it's frustrating. Look at the tenet beliefs of Islam towards gay people. I mean, we've seen news where they're throwing them off of buildings. Yet there are factions of the gay community, of the transgender community, that is supporting Sharia law. I don't understand it, Bill.
I don't either. And I think this is why we are a confused society. I think we run around with our heads in the sand because, okay, so I know this to be fact, but I'm not going to argue it. I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to talk about it simply because it's just going to make me out to be the bad guy. And nobody wants to be the bad guy anymore. Nobody wants to lay the blame where the blame belongs. Nobody wants to be the one to. And even if you reveal the truth, if you were to stand up and speak the absolute truth, and everybody in the room absolutely knew that what you were saying is the absolute gospel truth, they would still be quick to throw you under the bus, to coin a phrase. Well, because for some reason they just need somebody to banter. And if it upsets the apple cart in any way, shape, or form of what's going on, the status quo, your history, man. Your history.
Well, let me ask you this question, Bill. What percentage would you say peer pressure plays?
90%.
Okay. That's like, all right, let's take this subject for a second. How many colleges would you say are in this country? Now, I haven't looked this up. I'm just an educated guess.
Oh, man. There's got to be thousands because there's so many small community colleges all the way up to universities, Harvard, Princeton, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to say hundreds of thousands.
But yet, because of perception, you would think that the majority of these colleges have gone to hell in a handbasket. That they're just not worth funding anymore. When the fact is, it's only about 4 or 5 colleges.
Yeah. I know my grandchildren are going to college. My one's entering college. One has completed college. And had a wonderful time. Got a good education.
Well, we've got a local.
What did you just turn on?
Do what now?
Whoa! What did you just turn on, man?
Are you getting a lot of noise?
There, thank you.
Is that better?
No. Holy mackerel, you sound like you're on the freeway. You just jump in your truck? Are you broadcasting from your truck?
I am trying to. I'm trying to head towards Franklin.
Okay.
No, actually, we've got a local college here in Carrollton, which is about 20 minutes away. And it's a pretty good college. It's West Georgia Technical College. And it's got a pretty good campus, and during peak season, I would imagine there's probably at least 5,000 students on that campus or people attending class. And there's a handful of them that live up here around me. I know these students, and I talk to them. And you know what? They basically hear this about free spaces and all this, and they said that a year ago, some folks tried to get that cranked up. people just didn't have time for it. You know, we've got classes to attend. We don't have time for this BS. And a lot of times,
why do we put so much emphasis on colleges anymore? Because it's becoming well known that colleges are turning out students. But are they well-educated students? And even if they are well-educated students, is it really helping them in their careers? I know many young people that have come out of college with a bachelor's degree or a degree of some sort, and they never go into that field. And or they come out with a degree in a certain field and they really don't know anything about that particular field. Because you take a college, and when you go to a class, you're not graded on whether you're there in that class or not. Because they could care less if you're in class or not, as long as you can pass the test. When the test papers come out and you can pass the test, then you get graded on that. And I mean, you just hear all kinds of stories about kids that party all night. They miss the whole next day of classes, and then they pick it up in the next day, or they pass notes back and forth, and they cram before an exam, and then they pass it. They pass. Are you really learning? I mean, have you ever tried that, Dee? Have you ever tried studying or not studying, and then the day before the test you cram in hopes that you can pass the test, and so you pass with a B? But have you really learned anything? Have you really retained anything that's going to help you in your career?
Cramming for a test has never helped me.
Never did. Me neither. And I'm telling you, the only thing that I really got out of high school, I went to college only to study law enforcement. And that greatly helped me in my career because it was specialized. That's why I'm a firm believer in technical schools, specialized schools. And just like that the young people from Germany, and said that they go 5 years, elementary, 5 years, and then you pick from 3 different schools. And the young man said easy, medium, or hard. But the only thing, and of course, like I said, the only college that I have behind me is in law enforcement. Never got an actual degree, but I picked up enough to. All I need to do was put in a couple more semesters, and I'd have a law degree, or a law enforcement degree. But unfortunately, I went out on disability before I could complete that. But the only thing I brought out of college or out of high school that has helped me in my future career, in my future life, was the ability to type. And that wasn't even a planned class.
Well, Uncle Bill, we could sit here and tear up another hour on this subject or related subjects. Real quick, going back to something you asked about, just so people know, if you're planning on going to Europe because of what you heard here on the show today, keep in mind, Delta.com shows from Chicago to Frankfurt, Germany, main cabin, round trip, $2,086.
True.
If you want to fly Delta One, which is business class, $8,120 round trip.
What are they doing? Buying you a new airplane to ride in?
Apparently so. However, they had the Concorde, and there was a lot of flack over that. Well, now what, 20 years later, they're bringing back the same concept of supersonic flight. Trips are planned from New York to London in 3 hours.
So now, excuse me, now you know why the price of goods in the United States is so high, and it's simply because people are paying $8,000 for a comfortable ride from here to London. And that cost gets passed on to the consumer.
Hey, if you want to talk about expensive ride, Japan has train vacations, TRAIN, train or rail vacations. And these vacations can cost upwards into the $15,000 and $20,000 range, but you should see the cars you ride in. It's like living in a luxury home.
Well, my wife and I wanted to take an Amtrak trip from Chicago to Vancouver, BC, because there was a young lady that lived up there that we wanted to go see. And the cost of riding in a train from Chicago to BC was so, I mean, it was just unbelievable. I mean, unaffordable.
Oh, not to mention, for probably half the price, you could have flown and got there in 2 hours.
Yeah, right. Well, look, this brings us down to the last of this show. And again, I hope you enjoyed, and I apologize again for the sound interruptions on the young people from France and Germany. And we wish them well on their stay here in the United States. And I have no clue. I love computers. God, I love them. I'd like to take them and throw them in the river and use them for boat anchors. God bless you. God bless America. We'll be back again tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to talk about taxation and licensing. Are we being licensed to death or taxed to death on things that should be absolute freedoms in this country? All that and more coming up on tomorrow's edition of The Morning Show with Uncle Bill. I am your host, Bill Vallant, also known as Uncle Bill of BNNS Radio. God bless you. Have a great day. God loves you, always has, and always will. Don't ever forget that. See you back here tomorrow, Big D.
All right, this has been another 2 hours of The Morning Show. That's right, 2 hours of your day you'll never get back. Hey, on behalf of Uncle Bill, the guy that knows it all, sees it all, and will tell it all, and me, your co-host, Big D, join us tomorrow when we're going to find something else to educate you or talk about or just raise your awareness. Hey, get out there, read, make yourself smarter, make up your own mind. Y'all take care. Remember, God loves you, so do I, and I'm like Uncle Bill. I love computers. I love them as targets and stress relief. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.
Is there anything we won't do? Well, yeah, we won't hide the truth. We tell it like it is. You can say you heard it on BNNS Radio, and they'll be impressed. That's BNNSradio.com. The best of the best on the Internet. BNNSradio.com. Stay tuned to BNNS Radio for more great shows like Cop Disclosure, The Morning Show with Uncle Bill, focused on mental health, and the ever-popular Belvedere Sports Huddle and Belvedere City Council. All here on BNNSradio.com and 87.9 on the FM dial. BNNS Radio. Radio of the future.